Welcome to the Pit Crew. I'm Camille, your attending, and I have my residents with me.
I'm Mal.
And I'm Robert.
And today we have another special consult and a returning guest, Erin Hattamer. Welcome to the hospital.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Well, not in the hospital, but on a podcast.
Yeah, well, at least you're only consulting. We're going to be covering Season 2, Episode 7 of The Pit. We're retitling this one to be This is going to be fun. And Erin is going to present today's patient. So go ahead, Erin.
Today's patient presents as a CEO and Adam Sandler chic, turning off the internet.
What a bitch.
No,
I diagnosed that as bitch.
It was wild.
Killed me.
He's really repping Shane in that scene. Sorry, I won't mention it ever again. I'm going to die.
Hey, Camille, let's do some housekeeping.
Yes. Okay, so first of all, I can't find the comment or whatever it was, but somebody finally told us why we recognize the old guy with the broken butt. It's not because we recognize him, it's because he looks like Richard Kind.
Yes.
And that's why he looks familiar to us.
And I did not know who Richard Kind was, like, by the name, but I looked him up. And this man has been in everything. Like, so many things. Like, there is something you have seen this man in, because he has been in 1-2 episodes of, like, a bajillion things. So, like, if he looked familiar to you, that's probably what it is.
Yes.
I, again, would like to present that I have no fucking clue who this person is. When Mac and I first watched this episode, he was just like, does this guy look like Alfred Molina? I'm like, I guess. Whatever. Let's go with that.
Oh, a little bit.
I know who Alfred Molina is. We're calling it case closed. Please stop telling us who this guy looks like. Thank you very much. We love you.
But the thing is, people comment as the episodes as they're listening, so they're gonna keep commenting, and then they're gonna hear us say, please stop.
My favorite is when someone will comment on an episode and they'll be like, hey, what fanfiction were you talking about? And I'm like, oh my god, I have read so many fanfictions since then. Maybe it was this one. So sorry to the person that I gave a fanfic to. I don't know if that was the right one.
So we got an email from Hayden, who listens with their daughter and also watches The Pit, and I believe he did Rivalry as well. They said, I figured y'all would get a kick out of this. I just asked if I could turn on the newest episode because I've been waiting all day to watch it as soon as it got posted on Hulu. And my 14-year-old asked if there would be any surprise penises on screen in this one. I said I wouldn't know until I watched it, and she said, doesthedogpenis.com? Doesthedogpenis.com? That sent me over the moon. That was so funny to me. I could not control myself.
Is there a penis in this episode of the Pit?
Heated Rivalry. God, I wish.
There's no penises in Heated Rivalry.
There's one. Mal just isn't looking close enough, but there is one.
Which one? Oh,
It's
the
the dick
there
pic.
is the dick pic. The dick pic.
that one doesn't count.
We're just gonna jump into this episode. Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to give a little intro of me and then a fun little antidote.
Erin.
Antidote? You mean an anecdote?
Oh, fuck. We've been poisoned. And Erin's poisoned. Erin, just because people usually tend to tune out at the end of a podcast, would you like to tell the people what you do and where they can find you? And then throw in your little antidote.
That was rude. All right. My name is Erin Hattamer. You can find me on TikTok at Erin Hattamer or Instagram at Erin Hatta, Hatta. I am a stand-up comedian and writer of fanfic. No. I write other stuff. And I don't know anything about medicine. However, my mom's a nurse and my dad was a doctor for over 20 years. And I made them sit down and watch this with me. And my dad did say it was the most accurate medical show he's seen. And me and my friend, she hadn't catched up on season 1. And we're watching the last episode and we were dead silent for like the whole hour. And Abbott comes back that episode. And so without any context, she not even looking at me, just looking at the TV, she goes, so who's in front and who's in back? To which we both decided that Abbott would be in the front because Robby has some trauma and I don't trust him being gentle. And that's my antidote. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes. You can say whatever you want.
You're also allowed our last guest. Oh, that's another thing we have to throw in for housekeeping. We didn't do our patient passports last episode. We didn't do it. We'll do it at the end of the episode. However, our guest from last episode did want to submit hers, so we're going to play that quick.
My patient passport moment from that episode was when Dana freed Emma from the clutches of that horrible man who was demanding, a sandwich? God, fuck that guy. Hell yeah, Dana. Baby Jane Doe.
Now we can continue and talk about the episode.
Heyo.
So we pick right up after Louis' debrief. We get a catch up on like what's going on in the ED. We get a VRI for Harlow. We are still waiting on peds for Baby Jane Doe. I still can't do it.
That is
Baby Jane Doe.
Baby Jane Doe.
Good, taking formula. Good, baby Jane Doe.
Orlando is sitting comfy with his insulin drip, and the ER is starting to get really packed.
I think that Dr. Al, like, in this moment, really does, like, I was like, she has respect for Dr. Robby.
Yeah.
She doesn't,
I
like,
think
hate
so.
Dr. Robby. I think she actually has a lot of respect for him. I think that you can have a lot of respect for someone, but also just be like, I would not do this job the way that you do this job, but I do respect certain aspects of how you do it and you as a person, you know?
Dana wants a raise. She is a savant after all.
Don't we all?
But all Robby has is his love. And she has too much of that already.
That's worse than a pizza party, to be quite honest. Worse than the donuts. Like, all you can give me is your love.
I can't
I'd
even
rather have
eat
the
that.
donuts.
Yeah. Lupe lets us know there's a sexual assault victim in triage and that a PAR advocate is on their way. I'm just going to read pretty much what like this organization has on their About Us website. Pittsburgh Action Against Rape, or PAR, has been serving the Pittsburgh community for over 50 years through advocacy, counseling, prevention, and education. Pittsburgh Action Against Rape was the first victim service agency in Allegheny County and one of the first rape crises in the nation. The agency was incorporated as a nonprofit entity in 1972 and has been providing essential, no-cost service to victims of sexual assault in Allegheny County for 50 years. As of today, PAR is the only agency in Allegheny County solely devoted to the issue of sexual violence. PAR provides comprehensive services to victims of sexual violence and to their families, serving children and adults of all gender identities, ages, and socioeconomic backgrounds.
Great.
Amazing. I'm learning so much about Pittsburgh that I'm like, okay,
Yes.
Freedom House Ambulance Service. Okay, PAR.
I'm like, fuck, damn, Pittsburgh was everything. Essentially where the 911 service was created, where sexual assault assistance was created, I guess, where fireworks were created.
Oh my
I
God.
wonder if at least some of that was intentional with the setting of the show. Like, did they pick Pittsburgh? Like, I wonder if in season 1, if they picked it because of the Freedom House Ambulance Service or something, so that they could bring that in.
While talking to Kay about Roxie, Robby's surprised that she'd prefer to stay here in a crowded and loud ER that is only going to get louder and more crowded instead of going home.
I get what he's getting at, but it still annoys me that I'm like, this woman is communicating to you guys what she wants, and everybody's trying to talk her out of it. And I know they do, they do kind of like, okay, take a step back later. But I was annoyed at this point because I'm sitting here like, my brothers in Christ, like, what? The woman is dying and she doesn't want to die at home. She would like to stay in the hospital. She's saying she would be more comfortable in the hospital. Why? I understand that they don't have room, but I'm like, okay, then admit her. And I know it's limited beds. It's hard to get other departments to take patients, but seriously, I'm like, okay, stop. I think there was something about Robby's attitude, and like, I really did, unfortunately, get like super heavy on the hating Robby train this season. Like, there's not much redeemable about the man this season.
I wouldn't go as far as to say there's not much redeemable about the man, because I do think we still see these glimmers of the Robby of season 1, like through the tribute to Louis, and they're just few and far between this season. Like, I think he is at a very low place right now, I think. And so I am affording him grace kind of knowing that, like, because he is so much worse than he was last season, because I think he is just at his limit.
I also felt the same way about Robby, because I was like, wow, I'm really liking him less this season. And the more, from episode to episode, I am seeing more and more burnout from him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's taking the sabbatical for a reason. Obviously, he wants to go on the open road. I don't really think the sabbatical is going to happen. I think something's going to come in between. But like, even we hear about Jake this episode for the first time. I think the first season, he had the trauma of his his peer, the person he looked up to, dying, and Doc Adams in COVID. And so, but you could still see he was like, okay, I'm ready to come back. Like, I want to do this. And then this season, when he shows up, it feels like he's like, I don't want to be here.
Mhm.
Like, I need to get out.
I think to me, what I'm seeing a lot of is like last season, it was easier to forgive his bad behavior because he was also actively having panic attacks and PTSD flashbacks. And this season, we're not getting any of that. So it's harder for me to be like, I forgive him because I'm just like, that's another insufferable white man, you know? Like,
I don't think a character needs to be showing their mental health struggles outwardly in the sense of like panic attacks in order for me to feel sympathy for them, because this is still like that same man. And
oh, I know. I know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I think it was because it was more in my face. It was easier. I'm saying that I'm an
Yeah.
infant and I have object permanence issues. And so, like,
that's rough.
you know,
Dr. Hashimi tells Robby that she thought his debrief was lovely. I'm getting more and more leaning a little bit into like this ship, even though I shouldn't for a lot of reasons.
Robert, every time we bring up ships, people start attacking us online. Like, I said something about, do I need to ship Langdon and Mel? Kind of joking, because I don't ship that. And people on the internet were like, you should go
lost
to jail.
their
I'm
minds.
like, okay, God, I'm sorry.
They're people on the internet. Their boos mean nothing to me. I've seen what makes them cheer.
Hell yeah.
I just want to clarify, though. I want to clarify that, like, when Robert says this ship, the note is not Dr. Al and Dr. Robby. It is Dr. Al, Dr. Robby, and Dr. Abbott. It is all three.
As the most toxic threesome, yes.
My sub-bullet note here just says, absolutely not.
Let me listen. If someone wants to make this fan fiction and then tag us, specifically me, please, thank you, do that. Until then, I will live in the fantasy of my brain, and we can move on. Dr. Al Hashimi, Dana, and Emma are going to go help the sexual assault victim, while McKay and Robby are going to go check on Roxie. Dana needs to leave Perla or Princess in charge of the desk. Princess suggests calling a sane, which Dana shoots down because it's a holiday and it would take hours. She's also a sane. And Perla shoves Princess under the bus and says she'll cover, which I found really funny, you know.
And I swear to God, I think she called her a whore. Like, I don't speak Tagalog, but I swear to God, I heard it. I heard like puta something, and I was like, did she say whore?
That would make sense.
I was just thinking here about, like, yes, it is good to take care of that victim first because, or like with some haste, because the longer that they have to sit there, the longer it takes, the longer they have to like panic and kind of come up with like reasons not to do it. And rape kits are so important. Like, she'd have so much time to overthink this that she would leave. The longer someone has to think something over, the longer they have to talk themselves out of it. So yes, you want to make sure you get that person taken care of and back out the door if they need, just to make sure that it gets done. Because if someone has to sit there forever, I mean, and this is really grim, but people, you know, it's like if you're sexually assaulted, don't go home and shower. Go straight to the emergency room for a rape kit. Don't go home and shower. So, like, it's that moment of, like, I'm sure the number one thing you want to do is go home and shower, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to sit in a waiting room at a hospital with a bunch of screaming, crying, stinky, sweaty other people when you've just had the most traumatic thing happen to you.
Yeah.
So,
for clarification, and they do clarify it in the show, a SANE is a sexual assault nurse examiner. They do the forensic exams, they collect the evidence and hand it over to police if a report is made. Sometimes they even testify in court. Their whole job is just to mainly provide resources and support.
and I'm really surprised personally that they don't have a forensic nurse. I guess I thought that was kind of commonplace, especially like in a bigger city. I would think that they would have a forensic nurse.
What's a forensic nurse?
A forensic nurse deals with victims of crime. They would come down and take all those photos and do the swabs and stuff like that and handle all of that and then write up. And they are trained in, you know, specifically treating victims of crime and also collecting evidence. So that's, you know, they're there at the hospital waiting for, you know, someone to be like, we have somebody, like gunshot victims, things like that. You would want a forensic nurse there. And so I was just thinking, in a city like Pittsburgh, you'd want to have a forensic nurse on staff. So I don't know if anybody has info on that and like what the difference would be and kind of how that would work. Let us know. But I kind of thought about that.
I mean, in a kind of related point to what you just said, Dana does not so subtly tell Emma that sane nurses are important, especially in an emergency department, and that more nurses should train to become one.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You should do this.
We need more sane nurses, please.
Triage is getting fuller and more sweatier with everyone making really good use of those patient passports.
Oh my god, I know it stinks in there.
Oof.
I know it smells so bad in there.
Surely.
Oh, 100%. I would not want to be in that emergency room. We meet Alana, Dana assuring her that she's in a safe place. She wants to know how long it'll take, and Dana can't guarantee a time, but they will finish as fast as they can for her. I really love Dana doing this introduction
Oh, I know.
of herself, of Emma, of Dr. Al-Hashimi, really getting she's in full I have a job to do and I will be fully supportive and caring of everyone involved, in not just the person but also like the doctor and like the nurse in training I have behind me. Like everyone's gonna feel like cared for by me.
I smell some more awards coming for Catherine Lanassa because, like, this is she is so good in this episode. Like, just I felt safe, and I'm not even, the one experiencing this situation, but I just she's so good.
I wonder if their intimacy coordinator, Nicole Randall, was on set for these scenes. That's so loud.
I would assume probably because I think, even when you are an actor who has not actually been sexually assaulted, you are like embodying this experience. I mean, there's a lot of what happens in this scene that is very, like, because she has to get undressed, she has to take her clothes off, she has to put on the gown, she has to, like, do all these things that are kind of dehumanizing, like, in the process of this test. So, like, I think absolutely an intimacy coordinator was involved, or should have been if someone was not. But
I also just think there's something very profound about, like, Dana does tell us she can't leave the room once she opens the kit, but there's something very grounding in having one character in one room the entire episode. It was very different than what we're used to, like that doesn't happen in this show. So there was something like very stationary about that, and like grounding. We kept coming back to this thing. But so I thought that was, interesting, and a contrast to how Harlow is being treated. Not that these are similar, but the fact that Harlow can barely get anybody to speak with her, and then, because she's getting piss poor care, unfortunately, and then you have Ilana, who's getting really incredible care, very sympathetic care, right? So
I am very interested in the storytelling about the monotony around trauma. I think the PITT does it really well, where, when you watch, TVs or movies, even books, like whatever, when they talk about the trauma, they're talking about this is happening and this is happening and oh my God, it happens. And when you experience trauma in real life, you forget about the stuff you have to do after. Like, if this was an episode of like Law & Order SVU, they would have shown the assault. They're not showing her going through this whole entire process with the kit. This is very different kind of, but it's a trauma I can relate to. My dad passed away in December. He had cancer. He died within the year, but I was watching him actively die in the hospital over 2 days. And I was struck by how bored I was at some points. Like, not bored, but like I was like, nothing is happening. I'm like, I'm tapping my feet. I'm sitting around. I'm wiggling. And then in the middle of this is like one of the worst experiences of my life. And when I was looking at Ilana, I was like, I felt that with her, where it was like, she just went through one of the most traumatic things ever. She is going through one of the traumatic things ever. And suddenly you just have to sit there and get like a swab in your mouth and you're just kind of waiting in the emergency room. Like I'm very fascinated when stories tell those little moments that you forget about in storytelling
Tedious
that
stuff.
aren't exactly. And I think this did such a good job of doing it because they also cut back to her so much that I, at one point, went, Jesus Christ, let her go. Finish up already. And I was like, oh, like that's also how
she felt. She was saying the exact same thing. She's like, let's just get this over with.
So I was just saying, like, I remember like seeing my dad die in the hospital and being like, I have to go get a Snickers bar because like I'm hungry. And she, and then she was like, I was just assaulted. Now I have to go wait in this waiting room with this baby crying. It's just so interesting to highlight moments like that. And the Pit does that so well, where, because it is in real time and it is really accurate. So it shows those very human moments where there is trauma and I don't want to say excitement, but like a lot of energy happening. But there are moments afterwards that are so human.
You just have to sit in the puddle of trauma. It can't be cleaned up yet. You have to sit in it so that we can take evidence.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, so she tells Dr. Al that she takes Synthroid. I Googled that because I wasn't.
Too.
Oh, you,
I also
there you
Googled
go.
it.
I have Hashimoto's. My thyroid doesn't work.
There you go. So there you go. It's a thyroid hormone taken to treat underactive thyroid.
Fun fact, your thyroid level is supposed to be between 1 and 5. I went to the doctor's last week. Mine's 21, so we're working on that. But anyways, my thyroid, dude, Hashimoto's hypothyroidism is the most common autoimmune disease among women. 1 in 5 people will get it sometime in their life. My thing is, if you're an organ and 1 out of 5 times you don't work, I don't think you're a very good organ. I think I'm putting you at the bottom of the list of organs that are important. That's really annoying.
Dr. Al-Hashimi is like, come get me when she's in a gown. So Dana and Emma go off to a room to set things up. The triage exam rooms 1 and 2, they're the most private spaces away from the ED. It's a perfect place to take her. It's also a perfect place for Dr. Ellis to be taking a nap.
Yep. And I just was like, I know all the lesbian fans were like, yeah, Dr. Ellis.
As a lesbian fan, I did cheer out loud. I was like, oh, Dr. Ellis, I love her. So her shift is about to start or something? Like I'm about to
Her shift's about to start.
She's
She's about to work a double. Which,
oof. Hate that for her. Love that for me. I get to get more Dr. Ellis. She also has not been gone that long. This is only episode 7, so it's been 6 hours since we've seen her.
It's been 6 hours and she's about to work a double. Oh,
that's nuts.
It's funny to note that she's one of the doctors. There are a lot of, you can note which doctors come in through chairs and which doctors don't. Robby and Langdon come in through chairs, but Dr. Ellis, she sure as hell does not want to come through chairs.
I wouldn't either.
No, okay. I got so confused because Dana tells Emma to bring her a stool on wheels and SMA, and I was like, what is SMA? And I turned on the subtitles. She said Esme. I thought she said SMA, and I was like, what's that? What?
We cut back to Santos, Harlow, and a video remote interpreter. Harlow has headaches and abdominal pain, her headache being the worst out of the two.
But then, right before this thing starts to cut out, he's saying, but now, ... And then the machine starts fucking up.
Yeah, but the VRI starts glitching out, and Santos resorts to using a pad and pen to tell Harlow that she's ordering a CT. Harlow asks why, and Santos replies, just to be safe.
You thought she was asking why? I thought she was asking, what a CT was.
That's what I thought.
She says why.
Oh, she says why.
She's also mouthing the word why.
Oh, okay.
I think that's really shitty behavior. We get it. You're not going to get laid tonight, but stop making your patients problems.
Okay. Not to always.
Also, I don't think Harlow technically consented to the CT, so this feels a little iffy and wrong and whatever. Okay, now go in with your rebuttal.
I have to defend Santos. I don't think this has anything to do with her.
She's
making
too
tired
a joke,
to get laid.
Okay, but I'm lesbian.
I'm sorry. Listen, too many people talk so much shit about Trinity Santos, and I'm sick of it because she is a great character and she's hot. Thank you. She's got a lot going on. She's really struggling with everything she has on her plate right now. And I think we see that in this episode, and we see that in the way that she drops the ball with patients like Harlow. But for you to say that it is because she's not going to get laid hurts me deeply. And no. Anyway.
My counter to that, Mal, is that it's not patients that she's having problems with. She's fine with everybody. She's great with everybody except Harlow. She's treating Harlow like a massive inconvenience.
I'm very interested in the Harlow storyline. First, because the Pit does obviously this amazingly all the time, where it shows underrepresented populations and the struggles they have with different things. Because it's something you don't even consider for yourself. But also, they, you know, some stories they cut back to, but it feels like it's finishing up. Some stories they only cut to once or twice and then it's all done. They keep cutting to her. And I'm like, it's like Chekhov's gun. It's Chekhov's Harlow. Like something's going to happen with her where there's going to be something really big that happens with her. And it's going to be, and it's something's going to happen because Santos messed up. Because we already see her mess up before. I'm very curious about, I mean, I hope not. Love Harlow. Love her vibe. Very boho chic. When she came in, I was like, you seem like you'd be fun on a guitar. But like, I am very nervous for her. I think she, much like the young man last season that wrote the list, I think she might end up being like one of the central patients we follow that ends up being a very big deal.
And again, we keep coming back to her in a way that makes us as the audience feel tedious because we're like, oh my God, can someone just take care of her?
Like, how long has she been here?
She's been here 5 hours and has had virtually no help.
Well, because she was introduced around the same time that Baby Jane Doe was introduced, because we had that like moment of silence in the episode because we were seeing like the baby be discovered through her perspective, you know, in the waiting room. And I mean, I know I saw people theorize that like she was somehow tied to the baby, which I don't think I think that, but I do think that there is something, and I want to know what.
We cut back to Jackson. His parents are here, Demi and Charles. They are asking what's going on with their son. They want to take him home, but he is under an involuntary psych hold.
Now, okay, I really liked in this scene, we start to notice that Dr. Al is starting to be pulled around in the same way that Dr. Robby is. Can't catch a break. Everyone's grabbing her and pulling her around. I like that we're starting to see that shift, especially because, like, I think it was last week, someone comes up and Dr. Robby's like, do you need me? And they're like, nope, her, you know? And so, like, we're starting to make that shift more and more. But I also have an idea that the reason that we just brought Dr. Ellis in specifically just now is because I think she's going to need to take over this patient. Specifically because she's a Black doctor. I think that she may end up taking over for this patient because I started reading about like mental health in Black communities and stuff like that. And we're going to link this in the show notes. But I don't think that it's a coincidence that Dr. Ellis is clocking in 30 minutes because I was reading. So this is from deconstructingstigma.org. It says Black people are far less likely to seek mental health care. Statistics tell us that about 25% of African Americans seek mental health treatment compared to 40% of white Americans. Unequal access to healthcare is one major contributor to the disparity. Nearly 10% of Black people in the U.S. do not have health insurance, compared to 5.2% of non-Hispanic white people. When members of the Black community do seek mental health care, they are more likely to receive it from an emergency department than from a mental health specialist. And so there was a Dr. Crawford is an African American doctor, and she said, other reasons that Black Americans receive less care include, quote, the lack of cultural sensitivity by healthcare professionals, African Americans feeling marginalized, and the reliance on family, community, and spiritual support instead of medical or psychiatric treatment, even when it's critically necessary. And then they go on to say Black people can also face prejudice from healthcare providers. Communication between providers and patients can differ for African American patients compared with white patients.
Can I say some?
Yes, please.
What I really noticed about this part was how, I don't want to say insensitive, but how not good Javati was at handling this. She really, and I mean, I can't speak of it. I'm a white person. I don't know if anyone knows that. But
we can tell.
It seems we can tell. Is it my lips that they're 2 pieces of paper this thin?
Me too, queen.
She's a person of color that has a lot of pressure on her. You know, she's like a child genius. Her parents put a lot of pressure on her. You can see that. And I see this same with the student. Like he was studying for the bar exam. And it seems like his parents probably put a lot of pressure on him, or maybe don't talk about those sensitive things. But Javati was like smiling and like being like, no, it's gonna be fine. Oh, like, and she kept saying like stuff that was like definitely not sensitive enough for mental health, which made me think, I was like, Javati, get out of here, get Caleb again. Like, we don't need you here. Like it actually just, to me, I don't think she did anything like malicious or anything, but I think it just shows that like there are certain doctors for certain things for a reason. This is
Mhm.
not her specialty to be handling this situation. Although I am curious if she's going to come around, because I think her and Jackson have a lot of mirrored qualities. Even just like if it's just being smart and having parents that are maybe not as sensitive to emotions or
Mhm.
being careful around it as some other people. So I'm curious if that's going to happen.
And I do want to also say from this article that it says trauma can be passed down through genes in a process called intergenerational transmission. Stress can cause changes to reproductive cells as well as to the uterine environment where a fetus develops. Because of this, people whose ancestors experienced trauma may be vulnerable to mental health conditions. Even individuals who did not experience a trauma directly may have inherited trauma symptoms such as anxiety and mood dysregulation. This has mental health implications for descendants of people, including Black Americans, who have experienced oppression and violence. So I thought that was fascinating. And I almost wanted to say, like, it was a fascinating rabbit hole to go down. But then I also am like, I shouldn't describe it as a rabbit hole because that's a very serious actual thing. But it was a very interesting, like, little research path that I kind of went down that I thought I learned a lot that I'd never really thought about. And I was asking someone that I know who is Black, and I was like, you're here. I'm going to ask you, like, because as a white person, my experience is drastically different. It's like in Black culture, what is like the response to mental health? Like, how do people talk about it? And they said, that they had a sibling who never really experienced trauma growing up, like they had the same childhood, but that their sibling now goes to therapy and that their parents are like, but nothing's ever happened to make you depressed. So it doesn't make sense to us. Like, make that make sense. How can you be depressed if nothing ever happened to you? So very much like and like my there's stigma in my own family and my own experiences, but nowhere close to that stigma. And so like it was helpful for me to have insight from someone who was actually in that community to be like, culturally, I know this is very different. It's also kind of crazy to me to think that there are people who walk around the world and don't know that there are differences in different communities and different races in how we talk about things.
I mean, that's they brought it up earlier. That's why that woman that was struggling with bulimia, I believe she was eventually diagnosed, was like, can I have a Black woman therapist doctor? And like, I was like, that's access. People need access, and people don't think it's important because it doesn't matter to them. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter to you because it's always catered to you. Sorry, I'm sweating. I'm like gonna get off my soapbox. We'll go on.
Yes, Karen, your OBGYN is an older white man, but that doesn't mean that somebody else requesting that their mental health or their healthcare providers look and experience life like they do. That doesn't make that invalid. You get to choose whatever doctor you want.
That's why I request all my OBGYNs be comedians.
Mm.
So they can understand
So
me on a
you
personal
get down there for the
level.
pap smear and they go, hello, hello,
Hello, hello, hello, hello.
Speaking of mental health,
Speaking of mental health, we cut to Dr. Al-Hashimi. She goes into the bathroom because she's having a panic attack. She calls the office of Dr. Fairgraves, who I'm going to assume is a psychiatrist, considering it's a neuroscience place that she's calling. So, like, assumptions, but you know what they say about assumptions, they make an asset of you and me. She wants to either speak to him soon or take his next available appointment, even if, especially if someone like cancels, she'll take that one too. I personally, for me, there have been a few times in my life where I've been panic attacking hard, and nothing pisses me off more and kind of takes me out of my panic attack for a second than hearing if you need this, dial 1. If you need this, dial 2.
if this is a medical emergency, hang up and call 911.
You're like, you know what? I can't panic anymore because I'm pissed off now. You cured me.
I love this scene. I literally, like, the first thing I did, I was like, okay, so Dr. Robby, come in. You're going to sit down and take some notes. Because this is how you address your mental health as a competent adult.
But I'm also like, is this mental health or is this actually like a neurological something happening? Because we don't know yet for sure.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what kind of doctor he is. We just know that it's a neuroscience. And that doesn't seem like a mental health thing to me. But I also was like starting to keep like tallies of like, okay, she's a neuro patient. Something was triggered by Baby Jane Doe. She feels strongly about protecting inmates. something was triggered by Jackson Davis and his family. So, like, what's happening here? Now, Baby Jane Doe, I think we figure out later why that's triggering to her, and I'm going to explain it to you guys when we get there.
Oh, great, because I have no idea.
I'm going to neuropsychologist tomorrow in office, actually, to get, so fun fact, if you've listened to any of the Heated Rivalry episodes, I'm getting tested for ADHD.
Yeah!
I have a feeling we're gonna come back. But
you're gonna score so well.
Dude, I'm so excited. Like, I was like, should I bring in the 4-hour unedited version we did of that episode and be like, is this enough evidence for you? Holy fucking shit.
That's enough to get all of us an ADHD diagnosis, I think.
But when I was on the website, they were like testing for ADHD, AAD, autism, and other anxiety disorders, but not necessarily like OCD or generalized anxiety disorders, like something more specific. I don't know if that's relevant, but when you guys did mention that, it made me remember I went to that website and those were the things they kind of look for.
Okay.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So basically, she was talking about trauma and she was like, I am thinking about squirrels, so I definitely need to call my doctor and figure this shit out because I should be locked in right now. Sorry.
Speaking of squirrels, hey, great segue. We cut back to Roxie. Robby and McKay are telling her it's not super great to stay in a very crowded, loud emergency department. It's, loud and messy. But surprise, her husband comes back with the kids. Fucking A, my guy.
Oh.
One, she's sweating like quite a bit, and then she gets worse later. But also, she's about to like have a moment where she finally has a conversation about this very important thing that we've been waiting to hear her say out loud, and the fucking kids come in. I'm like, God damn it. You know what? There's a reason we're not learning this man's name. It's because he's a bitch.
Robby has to get dragged away for an incoming police officer trauma. And then we come back to Alana. Dana is asking if she needs anything before they begin the examination. Once the sexual assault evidence collection kit has been opened, Dana cannot leave the room, but Alana is welcome to take a break or get some air whenever she needs. Dana this whole time is essentially narrating everything she's doing, and that the PAR rep will be in shortly, all to calm Alana and to have no surprises.
Mm-hmm. And Alana just really wants to get started. She's not interested in dilly-dallying. She's like, let's go. Let's get this done.
She's instructed to undress on top of some pads, leaving each individual piece of clothing on an individual one of those pads. They will be collected for evidence, and she will be provided new clothing.
I can't imagine going through that. I knew like some details about like the fingernails or the swab in the mouth and stuff, but just like having to see her like take off her clothes and get in the gown, like I just can't even fathom.
And the fact that they're gonna bag up her clothes and like take them is like, that really struck me. I was like, she doesn't even get to leave in her clothes. Like, what if she liked that shirt? Like, because she got assaulted, now she doesn't even get to keep her shirt. Like, I don't know why I got so fixated. Maybe because I just thought her shirt was cute. I don't know. I was just like, God, that's so dehumanizing.
Exactly. I think that's what you're focusing on, is your, like, the empathetic side of you is tuning into that dehumanization of the whole process. And like, unfortunately, that's just like, they do need that as evidence, but it doesn't mean that it's not dehumanizing. It's the same as being told that Louis, if no one claims him, will be buried in a mass grave. It's dehumanizing, but I mean, the word mass grave is just like, oh my God. I do want to mention here, we talked about this a little bit before we recorded, because we have, our listeners know, we have a running gag on the show. Every time we see a butt, we add it to the butt tally, right? Every time we see a penis, we add it to the penis tally. We're not going to do that. This is a very serious moment, so we don't want anyone to, we do just want to say, we did have like a conscious discussion about that and decided we were not doing that this week.
We cut back to McKay, who's clearly thinking about her own son and Roxie's kids, and she's going to attempt to grease the wheels to get her a bed upstairs. I don't like the term grease the wheels. I don't know why.
Oh, I don't mind it. It's better than squeaky wheels. I love that Princess is like, oh, I mapped out the hallways because we've got like beds in the hallways and it's getting busy, so I mapped it all out.
That paper map is about to become like gold.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Princess.
Thank you, Princess.
What a
Princess, like, she has so many great comedic beats. This episode and last episode, I was like, why is she the smartest person here? She's like fluent in 6 languages and knows ASL. Like she was like, I don't want to be charge nurse. The second she's charge nurse, she's like, okay, shit, I don't know. Shout out to Princess. I loved her.
Whitaker said last week, the nurses run this place.
I wonder if we're building something with building. Like, we're going...
Princess will be charge nurse.
Yeah, I'm like, we're going somewhere with Princess, I feel like.
Robby needs Santos to pick up some more Westbridge diversions, and she jokes about if he wants her firstborn too. I know we give Robby a lot of shit on the show, but it's all hands on deck, and that also means Santos's fictional firstborn, especially if they know how to suture.
I kept thinking about Gabby Wendy in that one TikTok where she's like, alas, I am a lesbian. And she goes, a middle schmerz, another unused egg for I am a lesbian.
Abbott strolls in with some other police officers in SWAT gear.
He's here.
The boys are back.
The injured one has an intubated neck wound. Officer Hero has endured high velocity GSW after a warehouse robbery gone wrong.
Because he's been like intubated and like everything is all fucked up. Did you guys notice the blood in the bag as they're like bagging him, and inside the bag there was blood? And I was like, oh boy, that's fucked up. But yeah, Jack in a uniform. God damn. You know what? Actually, I prefer him in the scrubs.
Yeah.
I prefer him in the scrubs because ACAB.
I do love the little guy flirting that Robby and Abbott do with each other, where they're like, thought you left for the open road and miss seeing you in uniform? You should have seen me as a flight attendant. Ladies, please, you're both beautiful.
I want to know, like, this guy's neck, like, is this a full prosthetic, like, dummy? Because I don't think this is actually the actor. I think this is like a total prosthetic of like the bust and head of this actor, at least for this scene, because they're having to like go in the neck and pull things out and all this other stuff.
But also then his like eyes are open and he's like at the end.
Later. But while they're doing all this stuff, like through his neck and whatnot, he's not. So I think it's like a total prosthetic.
Abbott had to perform the intubation under active fire. Please stop being so hot.
And also, as we find out later, he was grazed by a bullet. Like, this man is actively injured doing all this.
He goes in with teams in case there's an injury. Santos even admires this man's badassery. Mal had said earlier that if you notice while he's saying this, he looks back at his shoulder where that bullet grazed him when he's talking about being under active fire, which again, he's doing this surgery. He's helping while injured. Crazy. Abbott had a clear view of the cords, but it was really hard to pass the tube through after he cleared them. All right, pop quiz. What can cause respiratory failure in an intubated patient? You think dope. I love Uncle Abbott with his little cheating whisper. You think dope, displacement, obstruction, pneumothorax, or equipment failure? And ding, 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 the winner is displacement. That is a transected trachea. Can't do another intubation attempt because it would just come out of the wound. So we need a neonatal mask, aka little teeny tiny baby mask.
Thinking about a neonatal mask, to me, if you guys, put your fingers together, right? Because if you got neonatal, that's a baby who's born too soon.
Yeah, no, and it is a teeny tiny mask.
If you do yourself a favor and Google, if you don't know what a neonatal mask looks like, Google what it looks like. It's like a regular old like mask that they put on adults. It's a tiny mask. That's it. It looks adorable.
Fun fact, I have the mask from when I was 5 years old and I had open heart surgery. I don't know where it is right now, but I still have it.
Should we make it into like an ornament or something?
No.
We come back to Alana. Dr. Al-Hashimi is performing her assessment of her. There is no need for x-rays or advanced imaging. There are 2 areas of ecchymosis, which means bruising, over the shoulders bilaterally. Dana will document that with photos. Dana asks her to give a description of what had happened.
And I personally, I'm so glad that we don't get to hear about like what happened. Like we get a little bit, we get the very beginning of the story, but to me, it's so much more impactful that we don't know, because the point of the story is treating this patient and caring for her. It's not like violence against women porn, like Game of Thrones and all those other like fucking Mad Max Fury Road. Just like this gratuitous violence against women that we put into so many shows. And I'm like, for what? And I have a lot of people will be like, I bring that up as an issue that I have. And like, one of the reasons I didn't enjoy Game of Thrones very much is just the gratuitous violence against women. And people are like, yeah, but it's accurate for the time. And I'm like, and the dragons are accurate for what time? If you can have fucking dragons in your show, you can get rid of the gratuitous and graphic rape scenes. I don't need that. Like, and so I'm glad that that's not why we're here. And I'm so glad that we didn't get a description of what happened.
Well, and I almost thought that they weren't going to tell us at all, because Dana initially is like, hey, I read your report and you don't have to talk about it. And I kind of liked that initially. So I was like, oh, that's not what this is about. This is not we're not going to make her relive this in this moment.
Like I had written in the notes, it's very brief what she says. She was at a fourth barbecue. She was with friends. She helped us set up. And then we don't get the rest of her story. And I said, good. She's in a safe space with Dana and we're intruding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very much unfortunately, again, it's dehumanizing, but it's forensics. She's got to hear the story, but we don't.
No, we don't. We, on a slightly lighter note, I guess, cut to Mel in the ambulance bay on a FaceTime call with Becca. Hey, Tal Anderson, you can listen to our interview with her on this very feed.
We love you, Tal.
Becca has a stomach ache, so Mel has her go to the nurse and also wants the nurse to call her back.
Are we going to see Becca in the ER this season?
We are.
Yes.
Yes, we are. She's in a trailer.
Fantastic. I mean, not that I want her to be sick enough to go to the ER, but I'm also like, bring my girl Becca in.
Becca, I'm so sorry to say, you're probably not going to be eating ice cream tonight.
Does anybody want to place bets on appendicitis?
Oh.
I love that Becca picks up on Mel not looking good. I also wondered, do we think that Becca knows about Mel's deposition? They do everything together. They're twins.
I can also see Mel as the kind of person that doesn't want to worry people, though.
Yeah, I could see Mel keeping it from her because she's like, I don't want to burden her with this. I don't know.
But I also love the fact that Mel suggests that they go to fireworks later, and she's like, I have our headphones. And I'm like, oh, that's so cute. I personally love how loud fireworks are. It kind of makes me feel alive.
That's crazy.
I understand people not liking it. I like the thump in the ground. It makes me feel alive.
Okay, all right.
Mohan comes out behind her in an intense phone argument with her mom about her belongings, and she's like, I'll pick them up and sort through them later, just leave them in my room. Because as you remember, Mohan's mom is going on this year-long cruise with a guy she's known for less than a year.
I'm still fascinated by that.
Listen, I did semester at sea, so when they said that, I was like, fuck yeah, man, go get it. I would be on a boat for a year. That sounds awesome.
Elliot Green, age 17, is coming through in an ambulance, and he's had a syncopal episode at football practice. Syncope is the broad medical term for fainting. Many reasons why it happens, but at this time of year, probably from the heat.
He could have also seen a hot man on the field and was like, I mean, I would do that, probably.
Yeah, well, we know that about you, Camille.
I'm so sorry to this child. I do hate that he says, no pain, no game, because that's not quite it.
No pain, no gain.
It just annoyed me a little bit. Sorry.
No, you do not need to be working that hard that you are fainting. If you feel bad, take a break. And I think there is a very toxic culture in high school sports. I mean, I grew up in the South where football is everything. But this coaches feel like they own you and they own your entire life, and they can just make you do whatever they want. And it's just yo, we're all here to play a game. Calm down.
Well, I low-key, when they brought him in, I low-key thought it was because I feel like every patient comes with I don't want to say a lesson, but kind of a topic we need to touch on that isn't touched on in society, the prisoner and the person that went through the hate crime and everything. I thought when they brought him in, they were going to make comments about how toxic sports can be to the body and maybe even talk about CTE. But then they mentioned it was fainting because of heat, and then other people started getting hot. So maybe it was just an intro to that. But the PITT writers, if you did have a patient with that, I think that's a really interesting thing to talk about.
Oh, very much so. We cut to Joy and Ogilvy sitting around. Joy is hungry and she asks Whitaker when their break is. Sorry, pal, no breaks here. Mac, my boyfriend, wanted to interject and say, you're in the wrong field if you want a mandated lunch break. So
I do.
However, Father Whitaker, he provides nourishment in the form of a protein bar.
Let us proclaim the mystery of faith. He went to seminary school, didn't he? Or no? No, he studied. I think he's just studied it. Okay, wait, never mind.
Yes, he was like
He's a church
yeah,
boy. He was a theology major.
Theology major, that's it.
But Whitaker says the exact same thing that McKay does in season 1. He's like, no breaks, carry a granola bar.
Yeah. I guess this fucking protein bar isn't sponsoring the pit because you can't see the label. To me, it looks like a Nature Valley bar.
Energy.
Yeah, 5 Hour Energy is a clear-ass sponsor. Purell is a clear-ass sponsor. Red Bull's a sponsor. This random energy bar or protein bar, fuck it. It looks like a Nature Valley bar to me, which, fine. I have no opinion one way or the other. I'm a Kirkland boy, true and true. I love me a good Costco brand. So I love the Costco protein bars. I have 2 of those a day. They have a lot of fiber and protein. They're great. And those taste pretty good.
I have braces, so.
Oof. Ogilvy and Joy have to jump in on the syncope patient. Joy thinks it might be heat stroke, but Mohan corrects her, stating that it would result in altered mental status. And Ogilvy points out that heat stroke patients are usually dry, not sweaty. I hate him. I hate him every time he speaks.
There's not much of him in this episode, and thank God.
You know that meme song that's like, I think I'm gonna die in this house, and has like fucking like creepy ass organ playing in the background? It's every time I see Ogilvy or he speaks, I'm like, I think I'm gonna kill this man.
Well, I gave a fake spoiler to someone after watching this episode, and I was like, yeah, so Ogilvy just dies and everyone sings Ding Dong, the witch is dead. And I'm like, that's a prediction that I have for the season. I'm manifesting it.
So we're now seeing that Mr. Diaz is trying to leave. He says he already owes over $100,000.
Crazy.
We just find this out, like, his family does not know.
My chest felt like 20 times heavier hearing the words $100,000 in debt.
Mohan is frantically trying to prevent him from leaving. And it's really making me think, like, again, this is triggering something in Mohan because she's like, I cannot let another daughter's father die.
Yeah.
She is thinking about his daughter. She is like, no, please. Like, you cannot leave. We will figure something out. We can make this work. Don't go. Please don't go. She's frantically trying to make this man stay.
And one of the things that caught me is he was talking about he has another job to go to at 4. And I was like, we are going to see this man come back in at 4:30, having had another episode, and this time it's going to be worse. That's my prediction for where his story is going. Like,
I think he's going to die.
Yeah.
Robby and Abbott are working on Hero when Dr. Al comes in, and she doesn't know who the fuck Abbott is, right? She's like, you're letting...
a field medic. Yeah. And I'm like, put some respect on my guy Abbott's name. Thank you.
That's my daddy.
Yeah, that's
Watch
my
your
father.
mouth. So Dr. Al wants to take over, but Abbott's like, no. I got this. It's fine. This is my hospital. And they pull the tracheal tube out of this man's neck.
Oh,
I'm
God.
like, what do you mean that the insides of us are like tubes and stuff?
This guy had a high velocity bullet go through his fucking neck. The idea that it snipped his trachea and now that tube is loose inside of him, like, oh God, I don't like that.
Don't talk about the tubes being loose.
Tubes in my body. No.
Guys, we are all just a series of tubes.
And your skeleton is wet. My note, I was just like, this is a cowboy party. Like, this is cowboy medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Abbott is back, and so is the cowboy medicine. This is fantastic. And I loved Dr. Abbott's smile at Dr. Al. Like, oh my God, it tickled me.
This little smile for me, and a line they share later, has opened up the floodgates for Abbott al-Hashimi for me on like a 40 times rate than it did for al-Hashimi Robby.
Loud and correct buzzer sound. Mohan and Abbott forever until I die. I was so fed. So we're back to the football kid. Langdon is leading. Ogilvy and Quan are competing, of course.
God.
And the kid says he overheated and then winks at Joy. Brother, you are 17 years old. That is a med student. What?
Yeah, not great.
Again, leave women alone while they work. They cannot escape you. Leave them alone. But okay. And then she goes, "You're not my type." And I was like, gay? I mean, child, but also like gay?
I think it's more child,
Fellas, if
but
they're
also,
not a pedophile, are they gay?
it was more the child thing, but also like, Joy, I see the septum piercing.
Langdon wants to set up a cooling room for everyone else that they're going to be
Great
getting
idea.
because he's like, everybody's going to be dying. It's hot outside. And also, I just noticed throughout this episode, there are people who are sweaty. There are people who get sweatier. Like, everybody is sweating. And I'm like, is it that hot inside?
Yeah, I wonder if the AC is not working or something.
Oh fuck, the hackers got the AC.
I know. I was like, isn't it supposed to be cold in a hospital usually? That's why they're all wearing jackets all the time.
This is been on a film set behind the scenes thing, but obviously there's usually it's the script supervisor, but there's people in charge of continuity. But there's so many continuity things in this show. I'm telling you, there was a PA that their only job was to be like, okay, Whitaker was sweaty in this scene. I think he has to be 20 minutes more sweaty in this scene. Like, had a chart, like a conspiracy chart saying like who's sweatiest right now. Because I noticed people were getting sweatier, and I was like, they did a really good job with that.
It's their second AD.
What a job to watch actors sweat.
Now we're back to Dana and Emma and Ilana, and Dana has taken photos, and now the SD card from the camera is going to get sealed into an envelope as evidence, and it's going to stay with everything else. Now they're using a blue light to identify bodily fluids, skin injuries, and bruises that may not be visible to the naked eye. However, I will point out they are most likely looking for semen stains or like saliva, stuff like that. They do find some on her left wrist. Dana goes to swab it. The swab is cold, and Ilana apologizes for having a reaction to that. And Dana says, don't be sorry. And I just I was so taken with Dana and how she handled this entire thing. Every time we cut back to it, you just kind of feel a little bit more hopeful that like people really do care and are doing their best, you know?
And I just know they're going to be submitting this episode for like awards consideration for Catherine Lanassa. Like I already said that, but yeah, like she is so good in this episode. And I want Dana to be my mother. That's all.
So we go back to doctors Al, Abbott, Robby, and Garcia. And Garcia says that she will get Hero taken care of. They're going to take him up to surgery and, she'll basically cut the line for him. And Robby is going to do his charting while Dr. Al and Abbott are charting and chatting. And Dr. Al tells us that she worked in Kabul with Doctors Without Borders. And then in 2020 in a maternity hospital. Abbott says something about Dasht-e-Barchi hospital, and they say it was a tragedy, and I was like, what? So on May 12th of 2020, armed men attacked the Doctors Without Borders maternity wing in Dasht-e-Barchi hospital in Kabul, Afghanistan. They killed 24 people, including 16 mothers, a midwife, and 2 young children.
What was the motivation? Just terror?
They never identified who did it. So unfortunately, they said, fearing that our patients and staff would be targeted again, we made the painful decision to withdraw from that hospital in mid-June. The assailants, whose brutal and despicable attack forced us to close our maternity and neonatology departments, have left women and babies without essential medical care in a country that has some of the worst maternal and neonatal death rates in the world. In 2019 alone, our teams assisted 16,000 births in Dasht-e-Barchi, making it one of our biggest maternal care projects to date.
Can I add something?
Mm-hmm.
Please.
I'm a huge fan of ER too. I actually started watching it after I watched the PITT because I loved Noah Wyle so much. And some of the best ER episodes actually take place like not in the ER. It's Dr. John Carter, my husband, young Noah Wyle, doing work abroad in different countries and showing the gaps in resources for that. And I feel like I have a feeling that is going to happen one season, that they're actually going to do one abroad. Because Noah Wiley, when he left ER and he came back for like 3 episodes, and all of them were ones where he was abroad. It's something like Noah Wiley's very passionate about. He's passionate about so many things that have to do with the medical inequality, but abroad as well. And I feel like it would be, granted I'd miss my characters, but it would be so interesting to see. I'm done. Okay.
So this is something, it was like a testimony by Zara Kuchizad, who was a midwife supervisor at the hospital. She said, in Afghanistan, a maternity ward is one of the few spaces where women are leaders. The terrorists entered an area where no men are ever allowed to go. They stormed the maternity wing armed with guns, killing pregnant women, new mothers, and newborns. Their leader must be very proud, celebrating victory over an army of one-day-old babies and women wearing only their hospital robes. And that struck me. I'm like, oh, you must be very proud to have defeated an army of one-day-old babies and new mothers.
To take it back to PITT real quick, clarification on the conversation. Was it Dr. Al was in Afghanistan, not there during that time? Or, okay, so she wasn't at that hospital, but she helped in Afghanistan during that time.
No, she said she was in the hospital at that time. She said
when
in
it was
2020.
attacked?
Yes, that's what. Now, so she says in 2020 she was in a maternity hospital in Kabul, and he says Dasht-e-Barchi.
Oh, and so is this what you're thinking the trigger with Baby Jane Doe is?
This is why she was so like about Baby Jane Doe. That's what I think the trigger is Dasht-e-Barchi.
That is so interesting, because I really thought it was going to be something personal, like going through a personal tragedy. Bringing it back to like the trauma doctors have to go through is such a sad but like
femicide
beautiful
and infanticide
tribute. Yeah.
Ooh.
Especially having her as a Middle Eastern woman.
A lot more tributes to like tragic events and like honoring the people who died during the events were happening a lot more in the season than they did in the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they were like, hey, listen, we established ourselves as the social justice show. Bitch, we're standing 10 toes down on your throat.
You thought we were woke before? We have now ascended to a level beyond woke.
Maybe that's why Santos is so tired. She's so woke, she can't sleep.
I keep seeing that joke everywhere, but the PITT does it so well because it's not lecturing you about it. It's not like, granted, like sometimes the doctors get on their soapboxes and they're like, this is ridiculous, but it's just showing the reality of those boundaries for people. And like, it would be like, yeah, these tragedies happen. Like, yeah, the Life of Tree synagogue was attacked. Like, we can't pretend that Tree of Life, sorry, synagogue was attacked. Like, you can't pretend that gun violence doesn't come up in the ER. You can't pretend that people with disabilities don't show up in the ER. You can't pretend that there are people that are undocumented that have no health care don't show up in the ER. And they just show these people, and they show doctors who genuinely care. And if that's fucking like woke to you, blue hair, fucking barista woke, then like, I don't want to fucking know you as a person because you don't care about the human experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Dr. Al and Dr. Abbott basically are like, you should grab a beer, talk about, war stories. And Abbott's like, she seems cool.
Specifically, I want to point out that when Abbott says she seems cool, Robby says, and I quote, "I'm not going to be around long enough to find out." And that sentence had my suicidal Robby alarms going off, because it's like I know you're about to go on sabbatical, but I'm not going to be around long enough to find out, like, struck me as so, like, this person is crying for help, like, wants you to be like, what do you mean you're not going to find out? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I
didn't read it like that.
Oh, I did.
You okay, Mal? You want to talk about something?
Do we need to call Miranda?
No, not for me personally. I'm just like, I'm always looking for those things. I had to just attend to like a thing at work about suicide prevention and whatever, so I think I'm especially like...
Mm-hmm. The antenna's up.
Yeah.
So Dr. Javadi, real Dr. Javadi, not student Dr. Javadi, comes down.
Yeah.
And we get to meet him, and I love him.
He's fun.
I love him. So we get to meet him. He's come to introduce Dr. June, and she's the chief of dermatology, and he is bringing her specifically to introduce her to Lil Javadi. Because he's like, keep your options open.
And because she's a Nepo baby, so she can have residency wherever she wants.
But yeah, he wants her to keep her options open regarding like what she wants to do. Obviously, mom wants her to go into surgery. And he's like, yeah, well, she wants me to stop golfing and drinking scotch. And I love the way Lil Javati's like, yeah, those are the same things. Yeah. It's like, okay, sass. But like clearly this beef that she's got going on with her parents is with her mom, not with her dad, because the rapport with her dad is fine. Like,
Yeah,
this
there's definitely
was good
something with her
vibes.
mom.
And so I again, I'm a Mateo truther. I think we're gonna see Mateo, and I think that the beef between Lil Javati and her mom is gonna be that she's not totally focused on med school. She's also dating now, and I think that's what's causing the beef with her mom.
See, I'm not really a Mateo truther just because I think he's busy, as in the actor whose name I cannot remember. Sorry, sir. Jalen.
But no, I really liked Dr. Javati. So this man, Dr. Javati, is played by Usman Ali. I'm not sure. I'm so sorry, but he was in Veep. We cut the whole thing, but we just finally figured it out. We looked it up. He was in Veep. He plays like an ambassador that Selena dates in the later seasons. Like, oh my god, that's why I recognize this man. Fantastic.
Yeah, I did not
Very
recognize
funny
him,
actor.
so, but I haven't seen Veep, so.
So good. So, okay. Dr. Jefferson comes down to talk to Jackson's parents and sister, and he asks if there's a family history of mental illness.
Guys, is there a hint of mental illness in your family? Just a smidge.
There's more than a hint,
A
baby.
hint of a hinty bee. So he asks if there's a family history of mental illness, and it's not on his mom's side, it's on his dad's side. They admit that his uncle committed suicide, but he was never diagnosed with anything. Jada gets super upset with her parents because they haven't told her this. And I'm like, this is a really big reaction considering that, like, it's none of your business. Like, I don't think my parents would have told me if one of my aunts or uncles was mentally ill. I mean, if they are, I don't know about it because, again, why would that matter?
I think
It's not my business, especially as a child. That's not your business.
Yeah, I think as a child, you know, it's valid for your parent to not tell you some of the darker family history things. But I do think when you become an adult, there are some things that they should. I was told some things when my mom's parents died because there was like fear that things were going to come out at the funeral. And so my mom was like, hey, you need to know some things. Because like at that point I was an adult, and when I was a child, like it made sense to keep these things from me. And so I think it goes into like she's already having an emotional reaction about what's going on with her brother, and so I think she's having a really emotional reaction as like a, you knew this, like there's this piece that I didn't have that like maybe if I had known this I would have recognized the signs before in Jackson or something. Like I think it's a big reaction, not to the fact that her parents didn't tell her this, but it's like that on top of everything else, you know?
I think it just goes to the point that they don't talk about mental health. Because oh my god, not to bring it back to fucking heated rivalry, but when like Ilya's mom kills herself and then the family is like, oh, it was an accident, like that's what happened, like that's just what we're gonna accept. Like, granted, it's hard to have those conversations with kids about suicide and stuff like that, like, but if a family member died and they lied about how they died up until like my adulthood, I would be very thrown by that. And I'd be like, why couldn't we have sit down and had a conversation about that? A hard conversation, but a conversation nonetheless. I totally understand where her anger is from.
But also Jada leaves and Javati is like, she really should hear like what we're talking about, what the treatment plan is here. So I'm going to go find her. And so of course we go back to Dana, Ilana, and Emma, and they're doing cheek swabs. And Dana checks in.
I liked that part though, just because women are so ignored when it comes to pain management, mental or physical. Mm-hmm. So Dana just automatically offering that without any like contingencies. I was like, she gets it. God, I love Dana. God,
yeah,
I marry her.
Very much like a
have her be my mom.
Yeah, it's very much like a you don't need to prove to me that you need a medication. I'm not going to tell you that you need coping skills. Like, you do need to figure out how to cope with this. There are resources for that, but also I can medically help you cope in this moment now. So she also, they do the cheek swabs and she's like, now you can take a drink. Do you want to drink? And she doesn't want to drink again. She just wants to keep going. Let's get this done. So Robby is cleaning blood off of his watch when Mel walks out and she's got steam covered glasses. Taylor Dearden is such a good comedic actress. Like, she is so good with the physicality of comedy and the facial expressions of comedy. She's hysterical. She's like wiping the moisture off of her glasses and it's just so funny. She's
I
golden.
love her, and I feel like we have not gotten a ton from her this season other than like the deposition stuff. So I'm excited to see more of that, because how many episodes ago did she say there's like 4 hours left until like it's coming up? Oh my gosh, how is the outage going to affect the deposition? Is she going to be able to get on?
That's what my main thing was, because presumably I don't think Mel has like a personal laptop or something on her. Like, maybe she can use her phone if she needed to hop in the Zoom call. But if there's not good service and she was relying on the Wi-Fi of the hospital, for example, she's kind of fucked.
Also, Robby says it was a good idea to set up a cooling room, and Mel is like, oh, it was Langdon's idea, and Robby's like, fuck, now I have to admit that he was right about something. I didn't want to do that today.
Heartbreaking. The worst person you know just made a great point.
So, again, on the topic of the deposition, Mel is still anxious about it. But rather than really like letting her talk about it, Robby's just like, you'll be fine. And I'm clenching my cheeks because now I'm like, okay, what if it's not, though?
What if it's not fine? I mean, but him telling her that she's one of the very best residents, that was... Robby...
That was really sweet.
There's a couple things in this episode where I'm like, Robby's trying to endear himself to me again. And that was
you
one
specifically.
of them.
He's like, I'm going to get her back.
Yeah.
So we overhear now in the background Shane
Hamler, yeah. Roxie's husband.
Let's not even grace him with that title.
Shane
Roxie's
Hamler
husband.
is an asshole.
You can hear him in the background and he's saying, we have to stick to the plan. She's not thinking clearly. This is not what she wants and I'm taking her home. And I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you, bro. It's giving when a woman is going to give birth and she has a birth plan and she decides that she doesn't want to follow her birth plan, but her husband is like, no, no, no. And I'm like, okay, you know what? You get in that hospital bed and you do this. And then you see if you like it when someone else is forcing you to stick to a plan that you made when you felt better.
Right.
Right?
Things change.
Pissing me off. So he's still fighting to take her home, and Robby's like, sorry, especially since she's on morphine, we have to, honor her wishes right now. So they go in to talk, and one of her sons is saying, Brian Jenkins hunts on his father's farm with a .22. And I'm like, okay, cool. Can't wait to meet Brian. Like, we're absolutely gonna meet Brian.
Honestly, I would not be surprised if we met Brian.
The way this show is written, Brian is totally coming in later. That was not for nothing. And so, like, again, we were right on the money in saying that, like, she doesn't want to die in her home. That's what's happening. She doesn't want to die at home. She doesn't want them to have to live with her ghost, is what she says. And their son doesn't want them to talk about ghosts. And, like, that's totally valid, except for the fact that, like, this is a very important conversation that they need to be having. And now they can't have this because her fucking husband brought their children.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I mean, I get it. I'm sure she wants to see her kids and the kids want to see her. They want to make sure their mom's okay. But like, this is, it's just really inconvenient that they're here.
Now we have a swimmer versus a boat propeller.
Yikes.
We have no info on the age or what body part is involved.
This feels like classic 4th of July. To me, I was like when they kind of teased this and like let us know that this was coming, I was like, oh yeah, of course that's a 4th of July injury. Like during the day on 4th of July, yeah, people are out on boats, people are getting drunk, there's gonna be boat injuries. We're not quite to firework injuries yet, but like this made sense to me.
I thought this was a little bit of foreshadowing as to just how blind they're going to be moving forward because the phones don't work at the end. So they have no phone to call them and be like, this ambulance is coming in with this info, like with this patient.
Oh my God, I didn't even consider that.
So I think this is like a hint of like, don't know.
You have to be flying by the seat of your pants. Oh gosh.
So
Gonna be giving out personal cell phone numbers to the EMTs. Like,
good lord.
call me.
So Robby goes to the elevator to go up to the helipad to take this incoming trauma, and Langdon at the very last minute stops the elevator and joins him, and the tension is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Brother. Okay, I'm going to say I'm actually at this point, we are at episode 7. I am sick and fucking tired of meek Langdon. I'm bored. It's annoying me at this point. I understand that it's one shift, but we are 7 hours into this season now, and I'm kind of exhausted with this whole like, oh, I don't know. Like, it's pissing me off. It's getting tired. I don't critique this show a lot, but I'm bored with this. Like, it's annoying.
Oh, see, I think it feels
I'm like, I get
correct.
they made the point.
Like, I think he has to continue his apology tour. There's so many things going on that, like, I'm not even really thinking about Langdon necessarily. Like, he's taken such a back seat in my mind.
I know, you're a lesbian.
Well, okay. But that's also not why, because I'm thinking about, like, Whittaker a lot this season, and I'm thinking about, like, Abbott and Robby, and, like, the storylines that are more interesting and the characters that are hotter to me. But no, that's
the
not
other
why.
men that Mal thinks are hot.
I don't know. I think I'm willing to allow Langdon to kind of get his feet under him for more of this season, just because there's so much going on. Like, it feels like we went entire episodes without seeing Baby Jane Doe. And so like, there's just like so many storylines happening and so many patients and so many things to follow that I'm just like, I'm not bored with this Langdon storyline, because I feel like if there wasn't so much going on, he would have gone on his apology tour in the first like 3 hours and we would have been done with it and whatever. But like, there is just so much going on that like he's getting to it when he gets to it, and he'll be back eventually, I think. But he might need a mass casualty event for
I was
that.
rewatching season 1 because my friend hadn't finished it. So, and it's so interesting to watch Langdon last season versus this season. And honestly, his confidence is crushed. He feels bad. Like, I think it's this episode he mentions, like, my wife decided to stay with me, which is crazy. Like, I'm being a bad dad. Yeah, I'm being a bad dad. Like, he is a kicked puppy, but that's where he is in life. Like, I can't imagine him coming in like he did last season, making all the jokes and like roasting Princess and stuff. But I feel like it's so accurate to recovery.
Yeah, his confidence has been shaken.
Yes, but the medicine of it all, that's the issue that I have, is the fact that he's like struggling to answer these basic questions. And I'm like, the issue was never with his patient care. He was never wrong with his patients.
He hasn't been messing up with his patients. Robbie's been kind of like a dick about like, how could you not see that thing that obviously you can't see? He messes up with this patient because Robby put him in that uncomfortable situation, which was super unprofessional of Robby and super shitty of Robby in general. My dog's complaining because he agrees. So I disagree.
Okay.
But also I feel like we should get into it before I mention that part.
So Langdon is asking after Jake. Robby says he's better, he's coping. I swear the helicopter was so loud and the subtitles were so fucked up that I was like, he's golfing? he's good, he's golfing?
Also, the part that got me was Robby saying, oh, he's going to be a senior in the fall. I was like, oh my God. Like, this is a child. This is a child.
Straight up a child. He was a junior when the Pit Fest shooting happened. Imagine losing your girlfriend before you finish high school. Like, that's crazy shit.
This does make me wonder, is Robby actually in contact with Jake, or is he just getting this information from the ex-girlfriend?
I want to hope that they've managed to rebuild their connection in some capacity over the past 10 months. I have mixed feelings about, so like Langdon finally he rips off the band that he's like, I apologize. I betrayed your trust. I betrayed the patient's trust. It'll never fucking happen again. And Robby doesn't accept his apology. He's like, I'm glad you got the help you needed, but I don't know if I want you working in my ER. And shitty thing to say, and we give Robby a lot of shit, but I would much rather somebody who has a problem with me say it out loud, say it in front of my face. I have a problem with you because of XYZ. And like, yes, we all know why Robby had a problem with Langdon. I think it's a huge difference between him just like sneaking around the hospital, avoiding Langdon, being snarky and like, oh, you know, and giving him like an extra hard version of like of questions to grill him with when they're doing a differential. I maybe kind of respect Robby for outright just being like, I don't think I can work with you again.
But you can't give Robby points for that when he's spent the entire fucking day avoiding just saying that. He could have said
he
that
should have
at
said this 7 hours
a.m.
ago.
Sure, yeah, but like,
Langdon had to confront him to get him to actually say it.
But I'm just saying, it makes sense, that's valid, but you can't give him points for that, for being honest and blunt about it, when it's taken him 7 hours and being forced to be confronted with the situation.
You know, fuck you. I'll give him a gold star. Here's a gold star, Robby. You did it.
This is the most angry I've ever been at Robby. I was super frustrated because he's a doctor and he has shown that he's a doctor that has heart, that understands people. And I'm sure he is smart enough to understand addiction and how drug addiction works. And I think if Langdon was a patient, it would be different. But because it's a close friend and he feels so betrayed, he says those things. And it made me so upset with him because I was like, you're going to give grace to these strangers, but not to the people closest to you. But also I feel like that's coded Robby because he really can't. He has a hard time getting close to people. So Langdon betrayed his trust so much that he was like, forget it, I'm just going to drop this friendship. But I also think he is letting it get in the way of the professional career because
his literal job, yes.
His literal job, because Langdon has not made any mistakes. Like even the flesh-eating virus, like he wouldn't be able to catch that. But Robby's hammering that he should have caught that. He's being petty. And I was like, you're not being a good person, but also when you're not a good person, you want to value yourself in being a good doctor. You're not being a good doctor right now.
You're a shit attending.
Yeah, but I think it shows obviously that he is human. He has while we see him as kind of like this rock star, this hero of patience, he also is a very flawed person that has person issues. But I was watching this and I was like, I really thought Robby from season 1 would have given Langdon so much grace when he came back and been like, thank you for going through the process. And the fact that he's not, I was like, damn.
What if I run out of the door and push Robby off the roof? Full body tackle him off the roof. I'll die too, but you know what? It's fine.
The crazy thing is, in ER, Dr. John Carter, my husband, he gets addicted to drugs. And they approach him in the most kind, loving way I've ever seen in a TV show someone approach someone with an addiction. And in my head, I was like, no, Wiley, you're not going to do that again. Like they were nice to you, but you're not going to be nice to your new co-star. Like I was like making the connection as if there was any connection between the two. I was like, how dare you? They were nice to you. You're not going to be nice to them. Wait a second. These are 2 different shows. Wait, give me a second. Guys.
So the Lifeline medic is saying that he was splinting from the pain, which is why they intubated. And splinting means that all of the muscles in that area are contracting as a result of the pain. It's an involuntary protective thing that your body does. And the injury is to his chest, so it does make sense that he was having trouble breathing. And Langdon asks how he got injured, and we get the explanation that his buddy had started the engine while he was in the water trying to untangle something. And Langdon says his drunk buddy. And Robby says, focus on the patient. And I'm like, okay, you know what, Robby, go fuck yourself. This is totally normal banter, conversation that literally everybody has. And the second that Langdon says it, it's a problem.
And if you're going to be on a boat on the 4th of July, yeah, you're drinking.
Yeah, so Mel is basically reading Langdon's brain. She's like giving him the answers, but Langdon's totally floundering. He's really upset by this conversation, this interaction he's just had with Dr. Robby. She's just feeding him the answers. And again, I hate this meek Langdon. I get it. Can we move on? But I do think y'all, like, your commentary is very valid, and I get it. I do. I think I'm sick and tired of it because I'm like, there's something just really awkward and uncomfortable about the portrayal to me, I think. And that's kind of one of the things that I'm like, like, why don't you just like point your fingers together and go, oh, I don't know. Like I'm getting a little tired. So we're back with Dana, Ilana, and Emma. They are swabbing her fingernails, and Ilana is shaking really badly. And Dana offers to take a break, but she's like, no, again, like, I just want to get this done. She wants to know how much longer this is going to take. And we have a knock at the door, and the par has arrived. Dana explains what that is and then says, this will not define you. Okay, brother. I almost cried.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is a
Oh.
very mental health forward episode in a lot of ways. Like if last week's was nurse focused, this is very mental health focused.
Ilana doesn't want the par to stay through the exam, but she does agree to answer some questions. And if you watch Dana's hands, as she's waiting on an answer, Dana like reaches out towards her like she's gonna put her hands on her knees, and then she stops and clasps her hands together and like pulls them back.
It's gonna break my heart.
And I appreciate that she is very aware of those boundaries and that her natural instinct is to want to comfort physically, but that she's like, okay, I can't. Like, that's not the appropriate moment. Now, Santos is still trying to communicate with Harlow. And honestly, so she's like on the phone with IT. One thing that's going to get you on my shit list right away is to be a bitch to IT. As someone who works in IT, and I'm like, ask me how often someone's like, oh, well, I'm having an issue with this program. And I'm like, okay, I've never heard of that program, but I can figure it out. So the fact that she's like, how are you going to fix it if you don't know what it is? I'm going to fucking Google it. We like to say in IT that we either have picnic errors, which is problem in chair, not in computer, or ID10T. And if you don't know what an ID10T error is, write down
idiot.
ID10T. There you go. Yep. So
Yeah.
it'd be like, oh, it's an ID10T. So Santos still wants to do a head and belly CT with no information other
Yeah.
than she's been in pain. And I'm like, okay. Dr. Al approaches and she compliments Santos on the trauma from earlier, which I'm like, see, she's not bad. She is just your boss. Like, sorry. Daniel Scott is 32. He passed out washing his car. They're going to take him to the cooling room, but then he starts seizing, so he has to go to a trauma room. And Santos says something about postictal, but moving extremities. And I was like, what? So I Googled that. Postictal is the critical recovery period immediately following a seizure. It's temporary brain dysfunction, basically while like the electricity in your brain tries to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Huh. All right.
I also was like, oh, this is going to be a heat stroke. Like, this is reminding me of the girl from Pit Fest that was overheating and was in the ice bath from season 1. That's what I started thinking about her, and I was like, this is a heat stroke, right? Like, is that why he's seizing? And then Dr. Al mentioned something called an Arctic sun. An Arctic sun, I looked it up, they're like pads that go on the body, and they monitor and control patient temperature automatically, which sounds incredible. I'm like, oh, get one for everybody. That's amazing.
Get one for
That sounds
me. That sounds
fantastic.
cozy.
I know. Can I sleep with one? Lord. Again, Robbie's just being such a fucking dick to Langdon, and he's
Yeah.
making him second guess every single decision he makes for no good reason. Because he's right.
He is right, but I don't want to get on the fucking defend Robby train. But Robby specifically, like 5 minutes ago, was like, I don't think I can work with you. So if he must, he's like really putting like, okay, you've gone through your rehab, you're better. I don't care about that part. I want to make sure you're still a good doctor. I'm gonna be an asshole to you, but I'm gonna make sure you're a good doctor. Like, Robby works with some assholes he doesn't particularly like, but they're still good doctors.
Yeah. But right, he works with some assholes, but he still like communicates with them rather than just following them around all day going, are you sure? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, it's like
I'm like,
he's
you're a
trying to
teacher.
rattle
This
his
is a
confidence.
teaching hospital. What are you doing?
Trying to rattle his confidence.
Ah! So Garcia comes in and Langdon presents, and he has absolutely no confidence now. It's just like shattered. But Garcia validates Langdon's choice. And I'm like, thank God somebody likes him.
And okay, the way that Robby, like, they kind of talk over each other for a moment. Like, they both try to present to Garcia, and then, like, Langdon backs off because, again, like you said, he's kind of meek in this episode, but then Robby gestures like, no, go on. And I'm like, don't be an asshole. The vibes are bad. The vibes are bad. Rancid. Throw the whole thing away.
And by that, we mean the whole man.
Yes. Also, Garcia calling the wounds some Jurassic Park shit. Love that. She always comes in with the fun stuff. Okay, so then we have another heat stroke patient come in. This is Jason Stills, 62, who's making a salad when he apparently got dizzy and, his temperature's high, so they just kind of send him straight to the cooling room. And it feels like these two are meant to parallel each other. So you have, the much younger guy come in, have a seizure, get immediate attention, and you have this older guy come in with, also a high temperature and just kind of get parked in the cooling room. I'll get into this more a little bit later, but the vibes are not great, and I don't have a good feeling about this. So then Giovanni finds Jada, and Giovanni basically tells her, like, I know you feel really betrayed by your parents, but some families just have a hard time talking about mental health.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, especially in families of color. Again, especially in families of color.
So then Mohan barges into Mr. Diaz's room. He's gone,
Oh my God.
and in his place, we have shirtless Abbott.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
We fucking win. It's God. I texted y'all and I was like, I knew Sean Hattie was ripped. I didn't know he was that ripped.
Yeah,
That's a man.
that is
That's a
wow.
man.
And what a pair of tits on that guy. Woo! I was like, the pecs, good sir.
Ilya Rozanoff out here searching for those.
That's exactly who I was thinking of. So, also, like I said, I feel like we're going to see Mr. Diaz again, in much worse shape. And speaking of bad shape, Abbott was shot, or at least grazed by a bullet. So not really shot, but yeah. And upon learning this, Mohan is like, why do you do this? And he says, my therapist said I needed a hobby. I love him.
I actually, because I think Abbott has, honestly, more demons throughout his life than Robby does. But I think, because he was in the military, but I think he's very good at handling it. Like, he has a
He's
lot of
very
really
sexy.
great... Okay. I was going to say coping skills for depression.
Yes, but I was saying coping skills are sexy.
Oh, I thought you said he being sexy was a coping skill, and I was like, is that
Well,
true?
it doesn't hurt.
I wouldn't fucking know. No. He is very vocal about what he struggles with and what he does with it, and I appreciate that mirror so much to Robby.
So Mohan is talking about, she brought all this stuff for Mr. Diaz. She had the test strips that
Insulin, test strips, electrolyte powder, everything he needs for home care.
everything. And she looks like she's gonna cry. And she's so upset by this.
And oh my God, the way that this man is like, just send it in an Uber to his house. And she's like, yeah, is the hospital going to pay for that? And he offers to pay for it while he is preparing to suture up his own back. Like, perhaps this is the man of all time.
Mal, no, you didn't read that correctly. He's not offering to say. He said, I'll pay for it. He's not offering. He's saying, I will do it. Make the order.
Brother. And he says it so casually.
Okay, well, I'm
He
saying
says
he's
it
offering
so
because he's not
casually.
like...
He's not offering. He's telling her.
Yeah. No, but it's like, it's so very casually, and I'm like, this is the sexiest a man has literally ever been. So, jot that down. And that's coming from me, so that's a high compliment.
No, yeah, no, I but he's like literally, yeah, you're right. He's setting up to like treat his own wound. And my brain, I was just like, oh, he's got a little like Lunchable kit. It's like a medical
just, like-
Lunchable because he's just like squeezing things out and like preparing everything. I was like, ooh.
He can't actually reach the wound on his back, and so Mohan has to help him with the suturing. And just the Moabit shippers are being fed, because what do you mean she's kind of tenderly suturing up his wound, and they're doing this under the table because he doesn't want the paperwork?
And Robby walking by like,
Oh my God.
that was awesome.
The funniest fucking face that Noah Wiley has pulled on this show, where he's walking by and that split second pause where he has like this, like his face drops looking in and he's like, that face is still the same as he's walking away. I'm like, yeah, no, same, brother. Same.
It's the double take, and the fact that it happens right after she's like, it'll be our little secret, and then Robby walks by. Incredible.
I laughed out loud watching it. And I was like, oh my God. Amazing.
Incredible. So we go back to Mr. Scott, the heat stroke guy with the seizure. He hasn't had any more seizures. Seems pretty stable. Nothing worrying yet. So they're just going to kind of keep cooling him. Perla's going to monitor him while Santos gets back to her charting, always with the fucking charting.
Mhm.
And as they leave, Dr. Al tells her that our 2 year is challenging. You know, you should have to keep grinding.
And then as they're walking by, even Santos does a double take at Mohan
Ooh, that one
and
I
Abbott.
didn't notice.
Oh my god, even she like looks at them, and then as they pass by, she fully turns her head again to be like, what? So good.
Amazing.
So good. Everybody knows this is a sexy couple, okay? You can't deny it.
And then the bit that I think is foreshadowing here, Dr. Al tells her to consult neurology, and since it was like exertional heat illness in a young person, the mortality rate is really low, but like you really have to worry when you have non-exertional heat stroke in an elderly person. And I'm like, I feel like that is just what we saw come in. Like that's that other guy
He
that we
was
just
making
parked
a
in the cooling
salad.
room. Yeah, like that was
Right.
It was non-exert. So I'm like, that guy's the guy we need to be worried about, but we're all focused on this guy because he was having a seizure.
That's a good pickup. I didn't catch that. That's a good one.
Yeah, I was just like, ooh, I don't know. I thought the vibes when they were just parking him in the cooling room, I was like, ooh, that doesn't seem great. And then hearing that, I was like, ooh, that really doesn't seem great. Also, Dr. Al tells Santos good work, which I appreciate. She's trying to get Santos on her side. So Santos sits down to try to do her charting. Baby Jane Doe is now crying. And kind of funny that she has to point it out to Donnie that the baby's crying, because like crying is just sort of white noise to him at this point, because you know he's got a new baby at home. So she goes into the room to see if Jesse can do anything about it. He's like, I don't know, the baby's cranky from rhinovirus, she's been fed, she's been changed. And then he just leaves Santos with this baby while he goes to get Tylenol. And like Santos being so bad with this baby is actually hilarious to me.
So I always say like fuck them kids, and I make jokes like that all the time, but I like one thing that has always bothered me is when there's a crying baby on a movie or a show, because I'm like, somebody that is a real baby that somebody had to make cry to film this. That baby doesn't know it's acting. That baby can't consent to that. So whatever distress they just caused, like that's an infant, bro. And so like this just makes my stomach churn, especially hearing a baby wailing like this and seeing that baby that upset is the morality of making a baby cry so that you can film it for TV or a movie fucks me up. I'm like, that I don't like it.
I didn't even consider that. Ooh.
And I always have been very uncomfortable with that.
If they babies will mirror you if you start crying, so they usually have the mom or like, you know, whoever owns this child, not owns, Jesus.
the owner
they have
of this
whoever
child.
has the child, and they have them fake cry in front of them going, and then the baby will usually react to that and cry, and that's how they do it. They don't do anything physically to them, if that makes you feel 2% better.
It doesn't, because it's still like emotional manipulation that upsets me, because like that's again like that is distress that you are putting that baby in, and they cannot consent to that, and like the parents are making bank off of their infant sobbing, and I'm like,
welcome to fucking child acting. Like, dude, those guys are child actors. Parents aren't like good people.
Speaking of not being a good person, not actually, the way that Santos tells the baby, I'm starting to see why you got left here.
bro.
I was like, oh, crossed a line. But also it's like you're talking to a baby, so sometimes you say weird things to babies because they won't remember it.
And then the lesbian exploded.
Yes, very important to me. Broadway star Isa Briones sings a lullaby, I assume, in Tagalog.
I looked it up. It's a Filipino lullaby. It's called Ili Ili Tulog Anay, which means little one sleep for a while.
Oh, see, I knew Isa Briones as a Broadway star. Like, I saw her in Hadestown far before I knew of the Pit. So, of course, she's singing right now. And of course, it's beautiful because she's a star.
We're back with the boat propeller guy. And Garcia is saying that she's going to have Mel and Langdon suture him up. And Mel is like, oh my God.
That's going to take days.
She says, calm down, sadness, which is so funny because she's like calling her like sadness from inside out.
Yeah.
Langdon basically says, I missed you to Yolanda, calls her Yo-Yo.
Yo-Yo.
And yeah. And she says she can't say the same.
Personally, I miss this.
I'm glad someone is treating him normally. Robby is still not really talking to Langdon. Langdon goes to yank off his gown, and rather than like tearing at the tie in the back, it rips down the front. And I was like, Was that intentional?
So then Robby goes to check in with Princess, does, "How we doing, Princess?" And she answers with, "All right, a little bloated, had one too many hot dogs from the truck." And she's like, "Oh, you were asking about the board," and starts like giving us a rundown on the patients. But I was like, that's so me. I'd be like, "Oh, how am I doing personally? Me? Not so great."
We love a neurodivergent queen.
Mm-hmm.
And Robby says, we might have to start just sending people upstairs and asking for forgiveness rather than permission.
I do want to point out, she's kind of going over the patients, and she says they are looking for Digby. Did anyone else
they
catch
don't know
that?
where he is? I assumed they were looking for a room for him.
No, I also heard them say, "We're looking for Mr. Digby."
And I'm like, he's with Louis, I promise you.
That gets brushed aside the same way the help security from last episode gets brushed aside.
Yeah.
No, but I'm like, I promise you guys, he's with Louis.
Then Dr. Al gets a call to come upstairs, talk to the big boss. Getting called to the principal's office on her first day of school, not great. That is how Robby words it. And then Robby this is the second, Robby endearing himself to me moment of this episode, where he has this conversation with Santos, because she comes out and she's like, I think I'm a baby whisperer. And so he offers to add Baby Jane Doe to her caseload. And, she updates him on Harlow, and he says, wait on the CT scan to not give her unnecessary radiation. And she's like, I'm doing my charting, I'm checking it twice. God. And he asks if she's talked to Langdon. And this is the first time that it's hit me that I was like, oh, Langdon probably has to talk to Santos on this apology tour, because he was not very kind to her during that shift.
And he also kind of needs to thank her.
Yeah.
So.
And that will be hard. And so then Robby starts asking if there's problems at home with her and Whittaker. And just wording it like that is funny to me. And so Santos says he's weirder than you would expect, and then gets into all the stuff that's going on with Amy and the farm. And Santos kind of frames this as he wants to help everybody, and I don't want to see him taken advantage of because he's a fucking huckleberry. And Robby says, yeah, but he's our fucking huckleberry. And so
that was sweet.
He says he's gonna talk to him. And this is endearing Robby. This is someone who cares about people.
Yeah.
I want more of this Robby. I want him back.
I do love, he goes, strong deflection, well played.
Yeah, because she's like, well, if that's what you're gonna do, I didn't ask you to talk to Whittaker. Very good. And she's like, you do what you gotta do, you're the boss. Or at least for now, at least till the end of shift. And he's like, well, you see me in here, I'm the boss.
Until he's the patient.
Yeah, and so I've seen lots of people theorizing that Robby is going to come in after an accident, and it's going to be I'm the boss, you have to let me die kind of situation.
Oh my god, that is that's so Grey's Anatomy. There's no way.
My problem is they keep mentioning it like it's Chekhov's gun, not to say that again. And I'm like, there's no way they're not going to bring this up. But also it seems so not the PITT to have one of the characters get into a big accident or something. But I don't know.
And they're hammering me over the head with this. So I'm kind of it just doesn't feel I don't know what to expect.
Yeah. But Roxie's husband wants Robby to order her to go home. I am sick and tired of this man. I am done with this man. Robby is saying, respecting her wishes is the best thing that you can do for her right now. And McKay's trying to be she might end up feeling well enough to go home. But I'm also just brother, they have other things to handle right now. They can't babysit your feelings for you. You need to grow up and talk to your fucking wife and listen to what she has to say. And it would be a whole lot easier to do that if you hadn't brought your fucking children.
I feel we possibly need to get
Dylan.
Yeah, I'm social worker, psychologist, someone in there to talk to.
Sorry, is Caleb the therapist?
Jefferson is yes.
Okay, he needs to come in, because every time he comes in, he talks tea. When he cornered Robby, I was like, here we go.
Yeah. Or Dylan, who is a social worker. So then Harlow finally has an interpreter who is like a real person, and Santos is like, okay, I'll leave you two to get acquainted.
Why?
And I mean, obviously it's because she has to pee. Like, she's running off to go to the bathroom, because that's like her next scene is in the bathroom. But I was like, you have the interpreter now. I understand. Like,
go piss later.
Learn to hold it. You have the interpreter that you've been waiting on now. Do it
Yeah.
now, not
But
later.
also, like, it does really suck when your job expects you to, like, push aside your bodily needs, such as eating and peeing, to get stuff done. Because it's like, yes, Harlow is a person who deserves respect, but, like, Santos is too, and, like, she deserves to be able to pee.
Yeah, but she also falls asleep in the bathroom.
Mohan's little pal from last time looking for the blood clotting test, he's just chilling in the hallway, hasn't been seen. That also makes me nervous because I know that it's like he comes in all the time looking for this, but I'm like, what if this is the time that it's not just him freaking out? Like, I'm always looking for the worst case scenario.
Yeah. So we're back to Alana and Dana. We're getting to the vaginal part of the exam. This is where Alana is just like, nope, can't do this. And she needs to take a break. You know, she doesn't want to take a break. She wants to stop. And Dana reassures her, like, you don't have to do anything right now. And she's like, well, he's my friend. He was just drunk. He knows all my friends.
Oh.
And that is, I think a lot of women struggle, a lot of people who are assaulted struggle with this thought that it's not just one person that you're going to lose a relationship with. What if everybody else leaves you too? Or what if people don't believe you, right? Which is devastating. And Dana's like, I get it. This is difficult. Why don't you go take a breather? And Emma's like, let's go find the good snacks. I'm like, I love you.
Dana is everything.
I love you both.
Yet again.
Yeah.
Is this the last scene we have with Dana this episode where she breaks down after she leaves?
Yeah.
I have had a lot of conversations with people who have been sexually assaulted. I mean, it's like 1 in 3 women, 1 in 6 men, and I'm sure that's underreported. I remember those conversations so well. They were just telling me their story. And the thing I internalized most while it was happening was there is nothing I can do. There's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can offer. There's nothing I can do. I'm just sitting there listening. And when she left to go take a break, and then it stayed with Dana for a second, and Dana finally broke down. I think first I saw some people on the internet being like, is she thinking about something that maybe happened to her in her past? And I don't want to speculate on that. But I was also thinking, I'm like, that's my first time this season, won't be the last, that I cried. Because when you're confronted with such horror and there's nothing you can do about it, and you just have to sit there through it, it is devastating, and it chips away at you. And I'm thinking that's how all these doctors feel too. They have to go through these horrific things through this whole entire process. Granted, this is a specific case with Dana, but also you think like, I'm trying to explain this where am I sounding eloquent or no?
Yeah.
Yes, I think what you're getting at is that Dana she works in a hospital. They're used to treating patients and being able to be like, you have a cut, I can suture this. Unfortunately, with Ilana, there's no suture, there's no salve, there's nothing. She can collect evidence and be supportive, and there's nothing else. There's nothing to treat for her. What she does best is not something she can rely on here because there is no medical treatment that she can offer. I think that definitely makes her feel helpless. She can't do anything.
Yeah, this part got to me. I cried during this part. It was so hard.
Yeah, this was...
It's so hard. You mentioned this before, but because they kept cutting back to it. And they don't do that a lot in the pit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they usually kind of drop the storyline after like 3, and then we're all set. There's these longer threads. And I didn't think this would be one of the longer threads. And you just have to sit there. It's not like it's not like you're going through the like I said before, it's not like you're going through the most adrenaline part of the moment. Like, oh no, this is happening right now. You're sitting with it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just sit there with Alana in this misery with her.
You have to sit there with her in this dirty diaper. Instead of changing the diaper, it's like, sorry, we have to get the evidence first. So can you sit in this dirty diaper?
Like, I wanted to crawl out of my skin. Like, I was like, that is good writing. That is good TV. That is good representation, even though it made me sad.
So then Javati runs into the bathroom where Santos has fallen asleep on the toilet paper roll. Why is she so tired? Do we have theories on
Why
that?
is she not sleeping?
They said our 2 years hard.
Our 2 years hard. She's God knows how much sleep she's had. Lot of potential reasons. Also could be having to do with Santos's mental health outside of the hospital.
Right.
I think this is definitely like something that they hint at by showing us the self-harm scars
Yeah.
on her leg
On her
when
leg.
she stands up.
Were they? I didn't want to look at them that much, so I moved on quickly. But were they fresh or were they scars? Scars.
They were
okay.
scars.
She did talk about the trauma she went over with her friend, the older man that took advantage of him at the end of last season. So I'm sure she has gone through a lot of trauma herself. I mean, it's really it was very upsetting, but it's excellent storytelling, visual storytelling.
And that's
Because you don't see it coming. You just don't see it coming, and then it's there, and it with one image that is so casual. She's literally pulling up her pants to she's like, oh fuck, I have to go back to work. You learn 100 more things about her.
Yes. And I think like when people talk about Santos and they're so negative about her, just like she has no redeeming qualities, she has like people are missing these nuances. And I think like we've talked so much about media literacy and like people watching shows on their phones and whatever, because I also like full disclosure did not see this the first time. It was when I watched it for the second time and like was taking notes that I like caught this because I was on my phone. But like I think people are missing a lot of Santos, and like defending Trinity Santos online is not enough. I need a gun at this point, because like I need people to stop being like,
You
the
love
only...
your Wasian royalty.
I do. I like
Gay
I keep
innovation.
Yeah, exactly. I keep seeing people online be like, oh, like Santos is the only character on the pit I don't like and whatever. And I'm like, okay, you just hate women.
Ogilvy exists.
Yeah, I'm like,
I
you
do.
hate women because what?
Yeah. So Dr. Al comes down. She's got the CEO of the hospital with her. Insane in his
Yes,
Adam
his Adam
Sandler
Sandler
style.
cheek.
his startling shorts.
His Ilya cottagecore. Massive shirt, sorry.
So he basically tells Robby, gather all your staff. And we find out that Westbridge suffered a cyber attack, right? It is a ransomware attack. So pay this money and we will return your systems to you. Princess, clearly, I need to go back and check what her bet was, because she's like, yes, in the corner.
Good job, Princess. I hope you won a good
she's
amount.
the smartest one in the R.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Take pity on Whitaker and give him like give him his $40 back. That's all the money he has to his name.
No, he's being paid now.
Another hospital has also been hit, but their ambulances are being diverted to St. Mary's.
Thank God.
And they don't know how long this is going to take. IT for the pit, PTMC, has blocked thousands of attempts so far, but they're like, we're still really vulnerable, so we're going to shut everything down right now.
God, Santos is never going to catch up on her charting.
And I feel like this is going to be because this is a question that like I had and then I instantly answered because I have a brain. But this is going to be a question that I think some fans have. Are like, well, if their IT is successfully blocking all these attempts, why are they shutting down and making it harder for their doctors and all the staff? Their IT services and antivirus and whatever software they have has to keep working thousands and thousands and thousands of more times until this is resolved. The hackers' software and attempts only have to work once.
Right.
Yeah, it's a brute force attack, basically. And so Robbie's like, why didn't you consult me? And he's like, well, I consulted your fellow attending. And I'm like, okay, bitch, you should have consulted them both.
You should have talked to
They
them
are
both.
still both in charge. There is a transition of power happening here. You should have been speaking to them both. That's ridiculous.
This almost makes me wonder, like, is Robby being sort of pushed out by the upper admin people?
That's a good thought. That is a good thought, because Dr. Al plays ball better with their policies.
Yeah.
And so Robby asks when they're going down, and he says soon. And he's like, okay, somebody get a picture of the board right now.
And they have just enough time. Like, Whitaker just gets the picture and it goes down. Like, Mohan is literally like, did you get it? Like, it happens so fast.
So when this CEO said soon, what he should have said was, did you know you have 30 seconds?
Oh my god. So like, yeah, I'm like, Whitaker, I swear to God, that photo better not be blurry. You better have live photo
Yeah.
on so that you can adjust that keyframe, my guy.
I would have just taken a video. I would have just been like, video, point, and then it goes off.
Lord. So yeah, even their phones are not working, which if they're a lot of phones work over internet. It's called VoIP, voice over IP, so that makes sense that their phones would not be working. You'll have like the internet comes out of the wall into your phone, which powers your phone, and then your internet comes out of your phone into your computer and gives internet to your computer. So most like cubicles are set up that way. So that would make sense that their phones are also down.
And Abbott says this is going to be fun. And my question is he even on shift right now? Like, why is he still here?
It would be so funny to me if he wasn't supposed to be here today, but he's like, oh, this is fun. I'm going to stick around.
Can you, I'm just imagining him like putting his hand up and being like, okie dokie, and like sneaking out the doors. He would never, but also because he's the man who was like, I heard about a shooting on the scanner. I showed up early. No one called me. I'm just here.
He's literally the kind of guy to come in on his day off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He needs a hobby. Listen to your therapist, King.
And kiss that girl. And by girl, I mean very talented doctor.
I don't even know where we go from here. Like, I am stressed about next week. Like, I'm a screenager. I need the internet. I don't know how I would operate in my job if I suddenly didn't have the internet. So, and my thing is, I think I'm screwed because, like, if the internet were to like completely go down, I would imagine that the subways don't work. I don't have a car.
You're a walking.
You're a runner. You're a runner, bitch. What the fuck are you training for?
I can
if
run
not
26
the
miles.
apocalypse?
That's it.
I was like, oh shit, we're doing an episode of ER. Like, because the board in that show is like a whiteboard they all have to write through, and it's always so messy. And then the papers are everywhere. And like half the job, two characters that are like big characters in the show are literally like secretaries basically for the ER. Their job is to handle all the files and everything. And I was like, I don't think they have this kind of like architecture for this anymore.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't think there's writing on the cups.
I don't even know if there's enough fucking
Starbucks.
paper in this hospital. Like, I like immediately I was like, I'm sure, you know, Robby and folks of that generation will be like, okay, we're gonna do it how we used to do it. But then they're gonna be like, fuck, like we don't have this huge, like we don't have Jerry. People that watch ER.
Doctors' handwriting, they're so fucked.
So bad. Yeah.
Dude, like literally like one of the main characters in ER, like his whole not main character, but like he literally is like a receptionist and he has the hardest job. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if that exists anymore.
Mm-mm. Okay, so patient passport moments, anyone? Favorite moments of the episode?
Santos singing to the baby. I feel like you could have put money on that one. You could have guessed Santos singing to the baby.
This from Robby. Just
Robby's drive-by.
Robby's
drive-by judging.
I also like how he is like best friends with Jack, but he didn't stop. He was like, well, I still have to work, but holy shit, what is going on over there? That was my favorite moment.
I need the tea in 5 hours when we're standing on the roof trying not to kill ourselves.
Amen, brother.
Patient passport moment for me, just in a weird way. I mean, like I appreciate Dana so much, and I appreciate anyone who helps sexual assault victims. So pretty much the entirety of Jesus Christ, the entirety of Dana and Alana.
Yeah. I think my moment is more from a storytelling perspective, is the cutaway and not learning what happened to her.
Yeah.
I think that was a highlight for me, as I was like, thank God I don't have to listen to this like torture porn, basically, which is what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else anybody wants to talk about?
I'm scared.
This was the best episode of the season so far. I'm very excited. I feel like we're finally at the point where we're like, all right, we're picking up. Let's go.
They're improving every week, I
My
think.
cheeks are clenched, you know?
Dude, I'm scared for Harlow. I really am. They
Yeah.
keep bringing her up, and I was like, guys.
There's a lot of characters that I think like I'm scared for in this episode. Like,
Malice like playing Guess Who.
I'm like, who's gonna die? Who's gonna die? R.I.P. to that 62-year-old who was just trying to make a salad. Sorry, King, I don't think you're making it out.
Sorry, King.
There's a lot of salad in heaven. He'll be okay. Erin, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. I love doing this. It's so fun.
This has been so long in the making. If that's all, so long, fellow losers.
The Pit Crew podcast is created and produced by us, Robert, Mal, and Camille. It's edited by me, Robert. You can find us on TikTok, Threads, and Instagram at Pit Crew Podcast. If you'd like to support our other projects, our socials are linked in the show notes below. Our art is by Rampacoca. He can be found on Instagram at Rampacoca. All patient questions and concerns can be emailed to pittcrewpodcast@gmail.com. Now, this isn't a Taco Bell, but we do appreciate a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to schedule a follow-up appointment with a nurse before you go. See you next time.